Izium has been liberated. Slava Ukraini. Step by step and draw the war map and how we found out where it was and that Izium is actually been liberated and how it got there. So we knew that there was a pocket of resistance in Savinci, but in the morning report it got pushed back and there was reports that Russian troops are leaving this village, which means that there is still just a pocket of resistance in Vesele. This is where the forces from Izium came to support it earlier. So we were sure. Then yesterday we knew that the Ukrainians made it to Horokhovatka, and this is what about we knew on the south side yesterday. But late yesterday, I mean for the European time and Ukrainian time, we got notifications that Izium was under siege. And at first it didn't really make sense because I knew that Ukrainians were pushing from the south, but it was kind of, I know that it's also a difficult terrain. Also, there was no reports about Kamianka at that moment. So for me, the fact that Izium could be sieged from the south just didn't make sense. And but then about around the same time, also reports came in that Ukrainians are also in Oskil, and they were fighting in it apparently. And Oskil is we have a bridge in Horokhovatka here in the south, and there is also a bridge around Oskil. It was the main escape route, and so in Oskil, that instantly made it all the clearer what was actually happening. The Ukrainians reached Horokhovatka, they stumbled upon some forces, they were able to push them back and essentially establish good enough control over the bridge on this, or over the coast of on this side. And after that, they used the highway that you see here to push towards Izium, and then they split off also to Oskil. And at that moment, we knew that yesterday Ukraine has started the siege of Izium. I'm not sure if there was fighting during the nights. The videos that we saw was mostly of missile systems launching, so we knew that at least there was preparation for the advance in Izium during the evening and the night section. And early in the morning, apparently, they did launch an attack. And for a long time, we didn't have a lot of confirmation that the Izium was liberated. And right now, it is there, but it's, again, no pictures yet. It's only text, so until we see the pictures, I cannot fully confirm. But we can now clearly say that at least most of the Izium is now being controlled by the Ukrainian armed forces. What does this leave us with? Well, we now know that Oskil has also been taken. The Ukrainians have been pushing from the south. They also have been pushing to Pasika. So Svyatokirsk and Lyman, there was also a situation here. Let me talk about them a little bit. So in Svyatokirsk, the reports were that the troops were leaving Svyatokirsk, and Ukrainians apparently started advancing, but then there was around the north side of Svyatokirsk again were reported clashes, so it would seem that there is still clashes around Svyatokirsk. My guess is that after Ukrainians have taken Oskil, they're basically left only one road for the Russians to take. It's this one. So some of the Russians wanted to escape, and obviously to escape by this road, they needed to stay in control of Svyatokirsk. That is my assumption. I'm not sure. There's so much fog of war that we cannot be clear for sure. What we know for sure is that there are definitely reports that Russians have been leaving the Svyatokirsk and Lyman. That is the Izium front. So what are we left with? Some people asked, was there actually 20,000 in Izium? Obviously not in the Izium itself. That would make no sense. It's just one city. The forces most probably were spread out all across the front line. So Ukrainians are yet to reach those forces. But with the fall of Izium, these forces are not sustained by anything right now. There is no command. There is no supplies. They are just there. They are just there for the taking. And I'm pretty sure that Ukrainians can just clean this up. And with taking of Oskil, and I'm pretty sure that they will push south as well, we now can say for sure that all the south side will go under Ukrainian control once they solidify their grip on this region, taking out the pockets of resistance of Russian. Second, which is arguably more important thing to discuss, is that early morning, yesterday we left that, and I said that the Ukrainian forces were semi-encircling Kupiansk, And today we got instantly reports of Ukrainian forces advancing from the north towards Kupiansk center, and they've been posting pictures and quickly liberating the city. So again, our assumption was very correct, which only shows that I'm actually quite surprised that media is only now catching up on what we've discussed yesterday. I was under assumptions that I'm not presenting some kind of a rocket science here. It's just an aggregation of the data that is available. Just take a look at the pictures that were taken, consider where the next step might be. That's not really the hardest thing to do. But apparently it's kind of getting accepted slower than we expect. So if you want to stay on top of the news and follow the situation as it develops live, go to this channel's community page section, and we're having an instant updates on these rapid developing situations. It's an amazing community. People are helping out. Whatever your expertise, just come in there and it's great. We are now in a situation where Ukraine achieved two biggest goals that they could have possibly achieved by taking the west side of Kupiansk, but that it doesn't matter. While the white lines that you see here, the railroads, are going through the east side of Kupiansk, they are so close and within the striking distance of Ukrainian artillery that we can just clearly say that nothing will get through those railroads. And they are as good as gone by this point. And then the second one, obviously taking out Izium, clearing up any kind of command or supply lines to any forces that are left on the line in between Ukrainian troops and Ukrainian territory and the Russian occupied territory. This is amazing news. It's a great victory for Ukraine. And important why this matters is because I've expressed this so many times, but the more winning Ukraine does, the more winning it will do. Why? Because everyone likes to bet on the winner. Everyone likes to see that Ukraine is capable of delivering a winning blow against the Russian Federation, and that there will not be push negotiations to get Ukraine to the negotiating table. That means that now that the war is again in a hot mode like this, people are getting excited, because that's how we see it in the West, as this exciting situation that is like to follow. That's unfortunately our mentality. As dreadful as this situation is, and we know that every Ukrainian hero that died for this win to be achieved, we are aware of this, but we still cannot help it. But importantly, this also is a good thing, because now it builds up a narrative, and now it reignites the support for Ukraine with a passion haven't seen before from the start of the war. So all of my Ukrainian friends, just know that the levels and layers of victory that was achieved by the Ukrainian armed forces today by taking Izium, it is impossible to overestimate. This will pretty much guarantee that Ukraine will not be without friends, that Ukraine will have all the equipment that they need, and it will open a lot more doors for you to get the more advanced weapons and to have more support than ever before. An important thing I wanted to say also is big thanks to the patrons and members of this channel. There have been people subscribing since I talked about this yesterday. And I'm running this channel non-profit, so most of my profits are actually going to support Ukrainian army. So if you want to support Ukrainian army and you are against the Russians, subscribe to this channel, become a patron. I'm just going to send it all until the war ends. But the main point that I want to make to close out this video is what's happening in the occupied territories once Ukraine clears this up. There's going to be a lot of captured Russians. So that means that Ukrainian forces that were captured before, especially the Azov style heroes, there will be ability to exchange for them, hopefully. And secondly, there is so much equipment here. It is the armies. There were like a whole army or even couple of armies, Russian armies here. And the equipment that is left here will basically make any kind of future Ukraine offensive maybe even 2 or more times deadlier. Russia not only lost the situation, it also fed into Ukrainian strength. So by this point, I'm not sure Ukraine will need Lend-Lease, because Russia is the biggest weapon supplier to Ukraine in this war. Slava Ukraini, glory to the heroes, and let's win this over.